the Emma webinar this afternoon. My name is Sally Reynolds and it's my pleasure to be the moderator for this webinar for the next hour on the Emma project. So before I introduce our two guests, let me just say a couple of words about the webinar this afternoon. Well, in fact, our two guests will be Rosanna de Rosa from the University of Naples, Federica Tu, who's the coordinator of the Emma project, and Carmen Padron Napoles from Atos in Spain, who's been leading on the exploitation work package for the Emma project. So this afternoon is all about sharing the experience of the Emma platform and looking to the future. So I hope we'll be able to have plenty of good interaction from people who are taking part this afternoon. And of course we're also recording the webinar this afternoon if you'd like to take a look at it later on, or if you'd like to share it with any of your colleagues. To just remind you a little bit about Emma. Emma stands for the European Multiple MOOC Aggregator. It's a 2.5-year long European Commission supported project which has been looking at the viability of organising a multiple language MOOC provider for Europe. So we also have a current campaign going on at the moment, which I'd like to remind you about again at the end, and that is to let you know that we have a special offer with our MOOCs this summer, where approximately 20 of the MOOCs on the platform are available in self-paced format for you to access between the 4th of July and the 26th of August. So there's no excuse if you haven't got a good book with you for your holidays this summer. You can, of course, take an Emma MOOC with you. So let me tell you that for this afternoon, we have approximately an hour for our webinar this afternoon. If you'd like to put in any comments, please put them into the chat. As you can see, Alberto's already been putting in comments, and so too has Carmen and Craig. Hi. Put your comments in there. We'll stop between the two presentations for questions and give you a chance to put your point of view to both of our speakers this afternoon. So let's switch over to introduce now Ross, who's going to kick off the webinar this afternoon and talk about the experience of the Emma platform and looking to the future. So Ross, over to you. The microphone is now yours.
Thank you very much, Sally, and welcome everybody at this webinar. It's such a pleasure to be here today, mainly for two reasons. Because we are going to close finally this European project, but we are already ready to start a new adventure. So the talk we are going to give you today is about how we want to cope this new adventure, bringing Emma to market. This presentation is subdivided in two parts. The first one is about the Emma story. And of course, it's a 30 months European project, so I will be very, very brief because I know that you already know a lot about the Emma. But what probably I need to stress more is that one of our main assets for the Emma project was to create a European brand respecting the cultural diversity. I will show you then how we create a working definition for such a concept, cultural diversity. What does it mean for a MOOC platform? And finally, I will try to explain you our strategy to go into market. First of all, the story of Emma. Emma, as you may know, born in the 2013 from a survey that we started here at University of Naples. It was an expert survey, and we were very much curious about the MOOC environment that was just growing in every part of the world, and we want to know more about how the policy was framing Europe. So we asked to experts to give us some feedback about what they want to see in a European MOOC higher education area. So from this kind of survey we had three main results. The first one was that for stakeholders, the cultural diversity and overall the linguistic diversity was a not negotiable value. So it represented the main aspect, the main relevant aspect for European university and nation countries. The second part was about the need to create a European brand because of the need to contrast the cultural imperialism of USA platforms such as edX or Coursera. At that time, it was very much relevant to put a kind of, barrier to this kind of cultural imperialism. And the first point was about connecting analytics to design through monitoring tools and survey to understand how the MOOC environment was going to be created a new digital environment for our students and the new generation. The year later, the EMMA project was approved by the Commission, and so we started to work on it. And we started from a very complicated issue. What does really mean cultural diversity? What are the challenges EMMA is going to cope in this project? How we could accommodate such a diversity in a technological platform, which is of course a kind of project devoted to standardization of software. So we try to create a working definition of cultural diversity, mainly as a function of language, pedagogy, and personalization. So we will see how this challenge was explored in our project. Finally, in 2016, in January, we opened the door and we explored the first really massive MOOC, which was an Italian one, so I'm very proud of these results because the MOOC on coding reached in a while 70,000 users and is still going, still keep going, and still is a successful MOOC. Finally, we have now as a result 40 MOOCs on board, and many others just are coming to explore the EMMA features. So here how we try to realize and organize our challenges. In this diagram you can see that the pilot, because EMMA is a pilot project, was articulated in 5 main challenges: from pedagogy to instructional design, from web learning platform to a MOOC-based platform, from linguistic isolation to linguistic inclusiveness, from country-specific platform to a pan-European platform, from individual MOOCs to integrated learning. What was really clear to us at the beginning of the project, and that we were entering in a market where any country was organizing its own platform. Any university wanted its own MOOC initiative. Any teacher wanted its own pedagogy or its own instructional design. So for us, respecting such a diversity was very challenging, and we tried to realize a completely new platform with nothing in mind at the beginning, introducing a kind of agile approach to realize this platform, mainly after listening to provider needs, provider wishes, and expectation. So here you can see that from pedagogy to instructional design, our challenge became to what extent can diversity be accommodated in a unique platform without losing effectiveness and consistency. This means that a platform is, of course, a kind of artifact, and to create a consistent platform, we need to make a lot of decisions about what kind of feature we want on board, what kind to avoid, what are really used and really needed. The second point was about moving from different experience of using open educational resource, for example, in a web learning platform, to a MOOC platform, which is quite diverse. And so how to translate inclusiveness, sustainability, deployment within a different social context. The challenge 3 and 4 was about accessibility through language. As I explained to you before, the linguistic aspect is one of the most relevant assets for the EMA platform. So we were aware that translation is not enough. And we are aware still now that it's quite complicated to approach to translate linguistic feature to cultural translation. So we know that there is a lot to do on this aspect. But what we could assure is to create some feature to ensure the respect of any country, any provider identity, and to accommodate this kind of aspect with diversity. So one of the last is about accessibility through culture. We try to explore this diversity through the pedagogical approach. Now we know that in Europe there are different pedagogical approach. Any country is a different education system. Any country uses a different approach to education. For example, we know that from south to north many things can change in pedagogy, because at least in Italy we have a topic-centered type of education, while in the north of Italy the pedagogy is more activity-centered or activity-focused, task-focused. So how to transform this diversity in a value for EMA? Finally, we have as asset the kind of personalization that you are going to lose in a MOOC, in a massive environment. We dodge a lot of this aspect, because even though education happens in a social environment, it is still an individual matter. So we want to preserve this form of personalization of content, personalization of learning path, customization of a platform. Finally, we try to create this working definition this way and to measure as a key performance indicator for European goals. So cultural diversity was explored in different ways, as language, as a function of language, function of pedagogy, and function personalization. As a function of personalization. This means that we can read the multiculturalism through translation, through the customization, or through the pedagogy. And here you can see how we measure, for example, the linguistic aspect, which is about the translation, transcription of video and content. And we try to measure this aspect both on system efficiency and user effectiveness. That means that we want to see if the system works well, and also if the user are happy about the use of linguistic features. About that, you can see that we have two parameters, the word error rate and the bilingual evaluation under study. These parameters are set by University Polytechnic of Valencia to measure the efficiency of the system they developed for EMA. And what now we know that the OPV systems work much better than Google or YouTube. So you can have data, and I believe in a previous webinar some data was also provided. Also about effectiveness, we know that EMA users are able to switch from languages available in the EMA and to use the language they prefer. So even though they had to use English as lingua franca in some cases, they are able to appreciate this kind of feature. About cultural diversity measured through diversity of pedagogy, our data can show clearly, without any doubts that EMMA is able to accommodate diversity of pedagogy, which is about CMOOCs, from CMOOCs to XMOOCs, social learning on hybrid approach. EMMA has a feature for every kind of approach, because EMMA decided to not have an embedded pedagogical approach, because pedagogy is about the human, it's not about code of a software. So we decide to accommodate such a diversity, and here we have also some interesting data about. For example, we discovered that accommodating this kind of diversity of approaches, we now know also which could be the factor of success. For example, in this nice diagram, I don't know if I can call diagram, we have 4 of our most successful MOOCs. And you can see that any of them show a different pattern. For example, for the coding MOOC, the most important feature, which is not a feature, was just the presence of the teacher. The teacher was so committed with this course and so able to interact with users, to engage them, to create interesting topics, that became the most successful factor. For other kind of MOOCs, you can see another different pattern, where, for example, the topic or the design is very much appreciated. I have to specify that this diagram is not about expectation of a feature that you want to see, but are results. So they comes from our learning analytics and monitoring system. So it's a simple way to show that there is not a unique receipt for success, but an education mix of different factors is the only way to measure the effectiveness of your MOOC. Finally, we have the personalization. EMMA, as you probably know, offers a different feature of personalization. One is really unique in EMMA, because we have a course book, which is a form of possibility to take notes, to create comments, to add a chunk of content from different MOOCs, to create your own course book. So trying to have a bridge from digital culture and printing culture altogether. And this form of feature, the use of this feature can be constructivist in a way that only the teacher can decide. Of course, this feature, as well as the personal blog, the peer assessment, the feature of social classroom, make EMMA an open platform, open on the external feature and external world, but also open internally. And we were able to assist, for example, the creation of very effective micro-learning communities all around the MOOC, but created in social media, which are embedded into the EMMA platform. Finally, the last part of this presentation is about going to market. Now we know where we are, what we have, but we still have some idea where we want to be. And the market required a very careful market analysis. At the moment, the situation was this one. Here in this diagram, you can see that the MOOC market, we can call MOOC market, yes, is organized around projects which are granted based or fee based, with 2 main stakeholders: teacher, students on one side, and outside organization on the another one. The reason why some platforms are there are because of brand marketing and brand extension, or just commercial purpose, or to avoid to lose, some position on the educational market. For example, you can see here a branch of a platform all around this diagram. Some of them are granted by public or by public institution or by university, some others by consortium, or some others are clearly devoted to act on the consumer market. So we ask ourselves, now the market is so crowded of platform, where EMMA could be, where EMMA can position itself. And we decided that in this kind of model we want to be. But we needed a new kind of model because we want to preserve our social and cultural mission, and at the same time we want to be truly research devoted and educational devoted. So we realized that probably it's time to move on a different approach. The approach we imagined is not having, sorry, I forgot, not having grant or fees, as in the one before, but to have share, benefit, responsibility for any member of EMMA, and or revenue. Mainly the point we want to explore are the two first quadrants. So we realized that probably a nice model could be the one of the shared economy, where our stakeholders are both inside organization and outside organization, considering not the learner as the final consumer, but the provider or the organization. So we imagine to have a form of cooperative membership and crowdsourcing, for example, as well as individual subscription and services syndication. So EMMA is going to be positioned here, and you will see with the next presentation how we approach this kind of a model. And this model, I have to say, is not new. It's the one from the Open California Library Consortium. So it comes directly for a long-standing experience in this kind of business model. Finally, the proposal is to create a business model based on shared economy with an open membership, open platform, shared services and the responsibility as in the win-win approach. Now I'm closing my presentation and I'm giving the floor to Carmen for the next one. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ross. Can I just check, does anybody have any questions or issues they'd like to raise with Ross at this stage, or would you like to wait until Carmen has completed hers? I see lots of hellos in the chat, which is always very nice to see, but please put in any questions, any clarifications you'd like from Ross at this stage. It's coffee time indeed. If anybody has any. Thank you. That's a very informative presentation indeed it is. Thank you very much, Ross. You bring everything together after 2.5 years very, very nicely. Okay, then let's wait and open the floor to Carmen, and we'll come back at the end of Carmen's presentation and hopefully we'll have a more general conversation with everybody. So, Carmen, I think your slides are there, and we'll switch off our cameras and mics, myself and Ross, and leave the floor to you. So, Carmen.
Thank you, Sally. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second part of the webinar. We're going to continue sharing the experience of EMMA platform and look into the future, but from the sustainability point of view. We already had commented, and Sally had introduced what is EMMA, so I'm not going to spend a long time explaining this, and I'm jumping to the next. And we had detected within EMMA 14 exploitable assets, and from those assets we had defined which could be the services that can be provided by EMMA, but also the licenses on each of these individual assets will be released, and the general platform will be released. So we have detected that it's not a single license, and we will have two different type of licenses in the sense of all software development. There will be Apache version 2, and some components will be released independently, mainly because there are some conflicting open source licenses. And in the case of the MOOCs and the business modeling, we are going to we had agreed that it will be a Creative Commons version, SA and BY, and some specific MOOCs will also have an additional clause restricting that will be non-commercial. In terms of the business model, as Rose was commenting, she had commented already the road we follow to reach our business model, and now I'm going to provide you with more details about this business model. The starting point was the FLOSS model, which has two different type of approaches, and we are using the community open source that could have associated processes, services, and products. And we also took into consideration the environment where we had developed and deployed EMA, the European market, which is a little bit different to the American market, where the majority of the MOOC providers are based. We took into consideration the different types of certification fees, the sustainability efforts that have been carried out by the different platforms, and also we took into consideration the shared economy that Ross was commenting before. Having in mind all of this, can you hear me well? I can put it louder. Okay.
It's a little bit low, indeed. Can you put up your volume a little? Thanks.
Yes, yes. So our business model starts from the work carried out by the EMA consortium in the production of the EMA platform and a set of services. And we have two strands. The first strand is a community and association. We will have two different type of memberships or expected members, that they will be also high. It needs to be higher. Okay, I'm gonna make an effort then. Now it's better?
Yes, Carmen, I think you need to push up the volume if you can. I see you're in an open
Okay.
plan office, so you're probably a bit self-conscious, but
Yeah.
push up the volume as much as you can.
Okay. So
Thank you.
The first strand is the community and association, and within this strand we have two different types of memberships. The membership for the MOOC providers and the other one for the technical contributors. In the other side we have a pay-per-use strand, and on that strand we will have again the MOOC providers, and it will have the learners and the institutions that they will benefit from the use of the EMA platform and services. In the case of the community, we will have, as Ross was commenting, we will have shared responsibility, but we also have some benefits in terms of diffusion, knowledge sharing, and further developments in terms of technical developments. In the case of the pay-per-use, we will have some revenue stream based on the membership fees and on the use of the different services that I'm going to provide an overview of them in just a moment. And we are also have checked other means of financing, mainly based on crowdfunding, on merchandising, and looking for subventions and so on. Here we have the two initial baseline subscription fees. In the case of the association, will be 25,000 per year with unlimited number of MOOCs, and within that we will have a kind of a stratification of fees in order to ensure that everyone that will be wanted to join the association will be able to pay for the services. And in the case of pay-per-use, we will have a fee of 7,000 per MOOC for a minimum of 6-month period of deploying this MOOC. Here we have the business model. I don't know if it can be seen. In any case, you will have all the detail for later on, where we describe which are the key partners in the business model, which are the main activities, the value proposition, the relationship with the customer, which are the customer service segments, the cost structure, and the revenue stream. In the next slides, I'm gonna give detail of all of this. In terms of value proposition, EMMA provides access to a multidisciplinary learning based on MOOCs, and it offers a holistic approach to support monitoring, improvement, and enhancement of the learning process. This is based on two main features. The first one is the transcription and translation services, and the second one is the evaluation support of EMMA. Our main audience, there will be, from one side, we will have the learners that we are offering courses for long-life learners, that there will be teachers, continuous professional development, or higher education learners. And from the other side, we will have the MOOC providers, that they could be educational institutions, cultural institutions, small enterprises. There could be also European projects, but also we have considered that there will be some individuals that will be interested in providing the courses on EMMA, and they are welcome. We have prepared already the editorial policies of EMMA, and is already taken into consideration. In terms of services, we have three sets of services. The basic package, we have the extra services, and the supporting services. In terms of basic package, we have the MOOC offer, we have the support for courses creation, hosting, deployment, we have the translation and transcription, the monitoring and evaluation of courses, the dissemination and promotion, and the training for providers. In the case of extra services, we are considering here all the services that could be incorporated into the platform in the future, that there could be new platform features, new monitoring features, or translation and transcription into different languages. And lastly, but not less important, we have the supporting services that are those that will allow us to keep the general management and accounting of the platform, the technical support of each individual services, that will be the help desk, the user support specifically for the learners, and the customer relationship management specifically for the providers counting. In terms of EMMA offer, currently we have more than 40 MOOCs and still growing. Here you have an overview of the different topics that they are available in the platform. There are courses at least in 2 different languages, English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, Dutch, Catalan, Estonian, and we are also offering certificates of participation that in some cases they are based on badges. Talking about services for providers, as I commented before, the basic package includes the support for creation, the hosting and deployment on the content management system and the learning management system, the translation and transcription, the monitoring and evaluation, the dissemination, and the training for providers. I'm going to give an overview of each of those services. In the case of course creation, hosting, and deployment, we have a content management system with a set of tools that allow us to create and modify courses, lessons, units, and that will allow to upload or link resources like videos, assignments, blog posts, conversations, or surveys. We have a learning management system that supports all the deployment and the monitoring of all activities that are taking place during the MOOC deployment, and also we have some support for the facilitators and the learners. In the case of the translation and transcription, we are offering an automatic translation system that is based on 3-step process. First of all is this automatic translation or transcription. Later we will have a human supervisor that the main goal is to revise the accuracy of the system. For the time being, taking into consideration that these services have been running for 2 years already, the high rate they have been quite high rated, that this human supervision is going to be smaller and smaller, but also is recurrent because it's an automatic process. And then the last step is the publication. As I mentioned before, we have non-supported languages, but there is a capability of adding new languages on demand. In the case of monitoring and evaluation, those are services provided by analytic tools. There are two different types of analytic tools. There are passive tools and active tools. They allow us to know more about the learner's profile, the expectations, but the behavior and the performance, and even to be in position to give some clues for improving the design of the courses. Those tools, in the case of active tools, they are the social services, surveys. In the case of passive, they are the EMA learning analytics. The differentiation between the passive and active is that in the case of the surveys, we need the active participation of the user. The user needs to answer all the questionnaires. Meanwhile, in the case of the learning analytics, is a smooth and transparent process that track all interactions, and from there we are able to withdraw some conclusions and some analysis about the performance and the behaviors in the courses. In terms of courses promotion, we had provided support for creation. Sorry, I cannot talk louder. For creation of promotion materials, also the dissemination through EMA main channels, through Facebook, Twitter, newsletters, but also the participation in promotional events. In the case of training for providers, we provide support to teachers in designing, developing, and deploying their MOOCs. The main topics that have been covered are the MOOCs and instructional design, the pedagogical consideration, learning analytics, the creation of multilingual MOOCs, the EMA main features, and in this case the MOOC business models. There have been two different types of this training. They have been face-to-face trainings, like in the case of the summer school that we carried out last year in Ischia, but we had all the materials that we used for this training that can be used in the future, can be updated, but it is already available for future use. And also we have the online, that there are tutorials that they are available in the platform, but also the series of webinars that they have been carried out during the last year. In the case of EMA Future, just a second, sorry, here. The revenue streams, they are based, as I commented before, in two main strands, the service fees and the subscription fees to the community. And we have also a special prize for collaborations. We had already conducted a pilot with the Eden conference, where we provide the platform for corporate training, and we had already used one of our MOOCs in a kind of mixed course, kind of blended approach between MOOCs and face-to-face training. And in terms of the future, currently we are in the process of funding an EMA association, that the definition of the vision and mission statements are ongoing. The initial members are the partners from EMA Consortium. The official launch will be mid of September, and it will be based in Naples. At this point, we ask you for two main actions. First, to keep tuned with our media channels for the information about the launch of the association, but also kindly ask you, all of you, to complete and give us your feedbacks in relation to the EMA business models that Alberto had included the link in the chat box. At this point, we go to the questions and answers, if you have any. I'm so sorry for the audio.
Hi, Carmen. Indeed, there's a bit of a difference in the volume between you and Ross, which I think people are finding a little complicated. So we'll need to bring Ross down a little bit, maybe, and you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are, of course, now open for questions and for discussion. Carmen, I think you wanted to put up a poll first, did you?
Yes.
Let's put up the poll. We have a question for people to answer. I'll ask Alberto to put up the poll for us.
Question for people to answer.
Yep.
I'll ask Alberto to
Carmen, over to you.
Yeah, so we ask everyone of the participants, please vote for one of these options. One is, the question is, would you like to join EMA Association? And there are two possible options, yes or no. So now is the time for voting.
Okay, so once you vote, then it will close the window, and then Carmen will be able to bring up the results in a few minutes. I imagine people will say, happy to join the association, but what does that mean? How much is it going to cost me? So I think that's probably going to be one of the first questions that I'll be asking you, Carmen. But if the results are in, maybe we could have a look at them.
Does everyone have voted already?
Hopefully, yes. Not yet, no.
Not yet.
Alberto's telling me not everybody has voted yet, so if everyone could please vote, we can see what the results are in our group here this afternoon taking part in the webinar. So if most people have voted now, we can probably put up the results. Okay, so 12 people voted and they all said yes.
Okay, that's good.
There you are, Carmen. But of course the first question is, how much is it going to cost people to join the association? Okay,
we have two different types of subscriptions. There will be the subscriptions for the technical partners, the technical members, and this will be around 10,000 euros per year. And also we are checking on the facilities for payment. It does not mean that you had to pay 10,000 at once. That it can be a monthly fee for the technical members. And in the case of MOOC providers, there will be 25,000. This 25,000 again can be broken down in different monthly fees, and this allows all those MOOC providers to first run their courses as many times as they want in the platform for that year. It means that there could be many editions of the same course during 1 year, and they will benefit from all the services that I had described in EMA. This will be, yes?
Yeah, there's also an option then if you just want to have a single MOOC on the platform. How much does that cost?
Yeah, if you want to have just a single MOOC in the platform, we need to check how many editions you want to run of this MOOC. And based on the numbers of editions, we will have a small discount on the baseline of 7,000.
Okay, Ross, maybe you could come and join us then as well, and let's see if people have questions. I see Craig is asking a question for, maybe this is one that we can pass over to Ross. Ross, if you can switch on your mic and your camera and join us, we'd be glad to have you with us. The first question is, how does EMA differ from Google Classroom? So I don't see Ross online. I see, well, she's online, but I don't see her with her camera on. So would you like to?
Yeah, Google Classroom is. Oh, sorry. So.
Ross, bring down your volume. Thank you.
Yeah, I was talking.
Ross, bring down your volume.
Yeah.
Okay,
too much now?
Too much, yeah. A little bit further.
Okay.
Even further.
A bit more or less, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's good?
Where you go.
Okay, great. So, what's the difference from Google Classroom? Hard to say, because these platforms are very much different, because EMA is a MOOC platform. Google Classroom is a platform mainly devoted to be used for school teacher and classroom, school classroom. EMA is, as a MOOC platform, is open to the world, so it's a little bit more difficult than the Google Classroom. Has a different feature. The course structure is not flexible as in Google Classroom, for example. You need to create a course structure because it's mainly devoted to adult public, so used for professional learners, university students, teachers. This kind of platform I do not suggest for kids, for example. There are also learning analytics dashboard both for students and teachers, and this implies a certain capability to read the data and to understand clearly what are for and for what purpose they are there. So,
Craig, if you're familiar
quite different
with,
platform.
Yeah, quite different indeed. I think, Craig, if you're familiar with Google Classroom, then probably the best thing to do is go and have a look at Emma. It's open. You can join anytime you like. We have about 20 MOOCs that are available now at the moment in a self-paced mode, so you can check out how Emma compares with Google Classroom and indeed with any of the other MOOC platforms and MOOC providers. So it's probably a good idea to do that. The echo. Okay, so we seem to have an echo as well. I hope that's gone down a little bit. Are we still having an echo now? You're okay
no,
with
not
mine?
So much.
Okay.
No.
So the floor is open. Sorry, Carmen, you wanted to come in on that too, did you?
Yes, just to comment that we have another question on the poll. So
okay, we have another poll.
Yeah.
Good. Let's put up another poll then. Thanks, Alberto.
Okay, so the second question will be that what are the most interesting features of the Emma business model that we had presented? You have the 4 options, and you have also all of above. So I open the time for voting now and ask everyone to vote.
So please tick the box for the feature that you think is the most interesting part of the business model, which Carmen presented. Is it the shared economy component, the transcription and translation services, the monitoring and assessment services, which Ross also mentioned, the dashboards that are available to teachers and to learners, the mixed model, combining FLOSS and shared economy, or all of the above. So if you can all indicate which of these you find most interesting, and that will help us to direct the final part of this discussion this afternoon to see what we should focus on. So please vote now. And when we have a significant number of votes in, we'll put up the results for you. Craig, you have a problem now, totally breaking up. So can you, please can you indicate in the chat if you're having a problem with sound, and we'll try and fix it. Meanwhile, thank you very much, we have 11 people voted. We have some duplicates there, so it's the transcription and translation services that are out there, monitoring and assessment, all the above of course, and less so the shared economy component and the mixed model. They're probably less easy to understand, whereas translation and transcription is very straightforward. Just on that, Ross, can I ask you, we've had another round inviting people to have their MOOCs on the platform for the next year. How popular do you think the translation and transcription service was? Was it something that brought people to Emma?
Yes, absolutely. Most of them are looking for a second language to translate their MOOCs. Mainly for Italy, for example, is clearly devoted to internationalize their academic courses. So as the translation costs a lot in time and money, having a kind of automatic translation reduce at least of 50% of the time you need to use for translation of material. And there are no any other platform able to offer online translation system completely embedded into the MOOC platform, which means a seamless services for users. For example, we can, in the same interface, the same backend, you can send directly to the system your video, and having back in a couple of days the video transcribed and translated in the language you have chosen. So this means to explore new market, to explore new targets for example, we have MOOCs in one language, and they want to explore, for example, a new market in East Europe. And also we have some Eastern countries that want to deploy their MOOC on EMMA and having a translation system only for them.
So it's very valuable indeed.
And so the linguistic issue is very valuable. We know that there is a value on that on the educational market in Europe, because in Europe we have 26, I think, when after the Brexit we have a language less. Just kidding. We have 26, 27 language in Europe.
Just to point out, the Irish are still speaking English.
So, and to protect own identities, it means, right. To protect our diversity, we need to have our MOOC in our own content, language, and but having the possibility to internationalize our content all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Carmen, do you think it's very important as well as part of the business case?
Yes, definitely it's important, because from the analysis we had conducted, we knew that it was one of the main features that makes a difference in comparison to the rest of to MOOC providers and MOOC platforms available in the world. So this comes to confirm something that we had already checked it out, and so it's nice to see that it's a confirmation of what we had already analyzed. Yeah, and it's one of the main values of the EMMA platform.
Mm-hmm. So, question to everybody who's taking part this afternoon, so everyone who's joined us, can you put in your thoughts about using EMMA as a platform? Would you be interested? Do you think that this is a platform that has a particular niche market or an opportunity here in Europe? We'd like to hear from you as well as part of this webinar this afternoon, how you think a platform like this can go forward and what its chances are. We all hear so much nowadays about the fact that MOOCs seem to have gone out of favour. They are no longer the fashion and the great saviour that they were described as being 2 or 3 years ago. So we're curious to hear from you as well, people who are taking part this afternoon, whether you think this kind of platform has got a real place and a real position in our European educational landscape going forward. So don't be shy, please feel free to put in your comments or your thoughts
Sally,
into the chat.
Sally, I need also to emphasize the monitoring system we have on EMMA, because it's not to be undervaluated, the kind of approach we have in EMMA, because it's the first time that we have both a quantitative and qualitative approach to learning analytics, which sounds very valuable because of the relevance that big data, learning data are having on the market. I mean, for the first time, you know what is your public, what is going to be in your platform, how they perform, and what are really their needs, but also, which is very important for academic institutions, you will know if your approach is effective, what you have to change to make it more valuable, and how to engage your students more with technology. So there are lots of questions that we could explore through data.
Yep. Which is very important. And indeed, last week we had a look at some of the first figures and some of the information that's coming now from that process. And I think for me personally, what was very interesting was the importance of the teacher and not the model. So that it didn't seem to matter whether it was an XMOOC or a CMOOC or whatever kind of MOOC it was, the levels of interaction and the levels of satisfaction were much more to do with the individual lecturer or teacher. I wonder if you could comment on that, Ross, and then Carmen.
Yeah, okay. As Ross was commented in her presentation, there is not a unique recipe for the success of the MOOCs. There are different aspects that they need to be taken into consideration. Some MOOCs, they are successful because of the topic. It's quite interesting topic and draw the attention to the MOOCs and keep the motivation of the learners. This is one point. Another point is that sometimes the teachers or facilitators of the MOOCs, they are quite charismatic professors, and they draw the attention to the course, and is based mainly on their efforts withdrawing the attention and keeping the motivation. Other courses, they have very interest designs, and they run by themselves. So there is not a unique recipe for having a successful MOOC. There are different factors that they need to be taken into consideration, and when designing the course, teachers should think about that how I can make or to ensure that my course will be successful. And these are four important elements to take into consideration.
Thanks, Carmen. Ross, thanks, and indeed Anna-Maria, it's nice comments in the chat line. Thank you. We're glad that you've enjoyed the Emma experience. Ross, do you want to add to that? By the way, Carmen, your sound is much better now. I don't know what happened.
Yes. Okay.
Ross.
Okay, good.
I was commenting the peer assessment feature that we probably have not presented during the presentation, because effectively it's a new feature. And peer assessment is a way to let the students interact each other. It's a way to decrease the work for the teacher, but it's also the way to make compliance the massive and the individual level. So for us are all relevant dimensions, because what probably we don't want for the EMA platform is to create, to substitute the teacher with a device. And so we still want to keep the human aspect at the core of the relation, because education is something different than e-commerce. And so all these aspects we want to care very much.
Indeed. And I think it was also very important to you to make sure that the pedagogical diversity was respected as well, that there wasn't a single pedagogical approach imposed on all the MOOC providers. But that must have been quite complicated, was it?
It was complicated. It's nothing. It's not complicated when you need to create a governance structure for creating a platform, because you need to cope with anyone ideology, anyone expectation, anyone vision of the future. So for some of us, the most important things was to have an effective platform. Doesn't matter what pedagogy or what the user is. For other people, the most important feature is to create something which is working and consistent. For others is to have the possibility to interact as much as you want with user. So this kind of decision needs a lot of diplomacy, a lot of governance, a lot of decision making, which is not simple. And it requires also that sometimes you have to say no, because you need to protect what you are creating from ideology, for example. If you think that your pedagogy is the best, you want a platform that fits perfectly your pedagogy. But as we are social scientists and not only pedagogists, we know that there is no any unique pedagogy, but a lot of tools, way to learn and teach. And so we want to accommodate this aspect and not the ideological one. Otherwise, we decide to have a dogmatic platform, which is not the case.
Sounds like a very European situation, doesn't it? Ross, thanks very much. Any final comment, Carmen, before we close?
No, from my side, just to support the last comment of Rose, that had been a long run and with highs and lows, but we finally made it to this point, and we are very happy with what we had obtained, and we are looking forward to the future.
Indeed. I think we just need to remind people that we have our summer MOOCs available at the moment, and there will be a whole new round of MOOCs ready to go in September. So we will also be launching the association. So essentially our message is watch this space. Angelo says, we differ those of European Schoolnet. I'm just a high school teacher. A new MOOC is supposed to be accepted, but I have no funds. My aim is not to market my university, contribute to the spread of a new pedagogy. Indeed, Angelo, I think we all support that. And let's hope that we will be able to get your MOOC up and running on Emma in the not too distant future. It's just for me to say thank you very much to Carmen and to Ross this afternoon for joining us, and to everyone who took part in the webinar this afternoon. You can find recordings of all of our webinars on the link that's online, as you can see, where we have webinars on some quite detailed aspects of our work over the last couple of years, and you'll also find the recordings, information about the speakers and the slides. Don't forget to join up with us, connect with us on any one of our social media channels, on our Facebook page, on the Twitter channel, the YouTube channel, or indeed the SlideShare account. And we also have an email address there for you if you have any comments or questions you'd like to make. Thank you very much to everybody for your time and effort this afternoon. Sorry that we had a bit of sound problems at different times, but I hope it didn't spoil your afternoon with us. Thanks, Carmen. Thanks, Rosanna. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.